JHK here for Fight Night Picks, and join me right now is PFL lightweight contender Genah Fabian. Genah, you just told me that you got off the mats. How has training
Yeah.
been the last couple of weeks?
Oh, yeah, man. Well, starting with this morning, it's big days, big mornings, big afternoons. So we train crazy here, and yeah, I've just finished my first morning block. It's Tuesday here in New Zealand, where we start at 7. Well, I start at 7. Pad work, and then we do our conditioning back to back after that. Then we have our MMA grappling at 10 a.m. with all the pros, and then an extra drilling class that I'm doing with Coach Eugene and a few of our other fighters here, a team of us. Just extra kind of tightening up things and extra drill work. So yeah, and now I've just stepped away to speak to you, so I had to get into a quiet spot because it's crazy in there. Everyone's in there, music going off, people hitting pads, so yeah.
Appreciate it. Now, you spent some time in quarantine when you got back to New Zealand. How did you spend that time? Were you in somewhat of like a mini training camp while in isolation, or did you just kind of spend that time to recoup?
Yeah, a bit of both actually. I've had 3 camps back to back this year, so there was definitely a bit of rest and catch up time, just letting the body come down. But we were training every single day. 2 times a day. We'd have our conditioning workout set, and we were really fortunate that our team were able to deliver airdyne bikes and equipment to the hotel so that we could complete, at least have our conditioning sets done and be able to do those every day. And then myself and Salvi, who's one of the coaches here, as well as fighters, CKB, who was with me, we would do our drilling, our pad work as well in the afternoon. So yeah, we were able to maintain and kind of, get through all of that in that 2-week quarantine. And just utilize that time, because as soon as we were out, it was gung-ho, straight back into the grind, straight back into the gym, into the routine. And like I said, we train extremely hard here, especially, when camp's on, it's another level. So I knew I was almost kind of prepping myself to be engulfed in all of that. And there's not much else going on, man. When you're in camp, you just physically, you don't have much energy left. Let's just say that.
Well, you were away for a few months for the regular season. You picked up 2 wins. When you got back to the gym and back with your coaches, the whole coaching staff, what were some of the things that they told you about your performances?
Yeah, they were happy with what we had, what the specificities. I'm trying to say a word that I can't say. Specificities or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Of what we worked on. Sorry, it's been a long morning.
Yeah.
On what we worked on. And just the progression with just a lot of details that and I'm putting it all together. I'm putting it all together to be a world-class fighter, like be a dominant world-class fighter, and not just that, just a world champion that's not able to be touched. So there's this growing phase that I'm currently going through, as well as trying to play catch up in the cage, so it's like it's also a very motivating thing that I'm not even 30% to what I know and what my capabilities are and what I produce in the gym. It's like I'm putting it all together, and that's very motivating to know that as well, to know that I'm still growing as a fighter, and I'm still adding and gelling and putting it all together to have that style. So it's that's where I know that I'm at, and that's and then we're just growing and adding and getting more comfortable with things. So I've stepped up with a lack of cage time, and that'll just come with more experience, more time in there, and yeah, like be that complete fighter that I'm working towards.
Do you feel like you've been able to implement everything that you've done in training inside the cage more than ever,
No,
especially during the season, the regular season?
no, definitely not. A lot of really great aspects that have been, but in terms of like letting it all flow and come out in there, I know I haven't, and my team and my coaches know I haven't, and so it's a process, man, and but I'm really content with where it's at and where it's going, like it will come, it's on its way, and but it's inspiring to know that, like, even just what I've been able to show thus far under the lights, there's just so much more to come, and it's just solidifying it, like I said, solidifying that style, letting it flow more, letting it making it more solid, and that'll come just with more experience and more time.
City Kickboxing, they're known to have a lot of the male fighters, and you are kind of the queen of the stable there. But who are your training partners? I think that's something that I haven't really heard you talk about before. I've never asked you about it, but do you really just train with the guys, or are there other ladies in the gym?
Yeah, majority is with the guys, and we are so, and I say this, we are so lucky that we have a whole range of styles and specialists at our gym. Obviously, as you know, it's a popular gym now, so we've got so much more than we have ever before in terms of quality of training partners. But there are a couple of girls, but there is one other girl that kind of comes in part-time, and she's like a New Zealand wrestling champ, and she's on the New Zealand team, and a very, very high-level grappler. Her name is Michelle Montague, and so yeah, she's really sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, sorry, 20, I was trying to go. Yeah, so she's one girl that I'll get in with from time to time, but majority is BJ Bland, who you will see in the PFL in the coming seasons. He's one of the best grapplers in our gym, just tenacious, bus forward style, blanket style, I call him, wrestling and jiu-jitsu. He just smothers you. His fight name is actually Quicksand Bland. So yeah, you'll see him definitely come up in the coming seasons, as well as a guy called Bo Walker, who's one of our senior members, who, these are all, the Brad Riddells, the Israels, the Dan Hookers, these are all their main training partners. So on any given day, man, it's these sparring sessions, if outsiders could be flies on the wall, man, they would see some rounds, that's for sure. Like, these are the quality, there are no Israels and Dans without these guys, so for this particular camp and lead up for Kayla, I'm getting all the killers. A guy called Kevin Doucet, who's a black belt in judo, very, very world champion judoka, and he'll be in the UFC soon. He'll be a welterweight in there, so I've been particularly working with him as well. But we all get to work with each other for sure. But when it comes to, obviously, when we're refining things and we need particular looks, like, those have been my guys. So extremely, extremely fortunate for them, and the work and the pressure that they've been able to give me and lead up for this one, man. It's I'm very, very, very well prepared.
Speaking of BJ, I remember he did announce that he signed with the PFL, and I was very confused that he didn't compete this year. Did he suffer an injury or something?
No. So what it was because of this whole quarantine situation, and because of this whole quarantine situation, in New Zealand, they were unable to get him over, and I think what they had to do with the whole COVID thing, they had to cull down the pool of that tournament of his division. And sorry, Tawny, and everyone's trying to call me. All at once, like, don't you guys get it? I'm on an interview. They had to cull his division down. So therefore, unfortunately, him being international and this whole situation with the travel and everything, he was one of the ones that got let go of when they minimized his division. But they are in talks that he will be featuring in the coming season. So the world will see this guy and know his name for sure. I'm excited because he's one to watch for sure.
Yeah, definitely. BJ, I've been watching him for a while, coming up, and he's definitely a killer. Now, August 19th, PFL semifinals. You're the main event. You're facing Kayla Harrison. You were supposed to face her in 2019. A few years have passed. Has your view on Harrison changed since then?
No, I don't think my view on her has changed. I mean, I don't know her personally, but there isn't anything personal from my end with her. I'm just there to take her head off. I'm in Miami for one reason. I know I have evolved and grown as a fighter, stylistically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and I mean this with everything, since that time, and it just wasn't meant to be. And though it was a very heartbreaking thing for me to go through and to come out of at that point, it just wasn't meant to be. But it's because it's brought me to now, and I know that, and I feel that, and this is my time, and I am the one. And that's I'm not much of a shit talker, and if I don't disrespect my opponents unless I have cause or reason to. But this isn't anything. I'm not mincing my words here. I mean, I am there to put her out, and I believe that I'm the one to do so. Stylistically, I've got the physicality and the size to do so, and it's just like this veil of invincibility that certain fighters have when they're beaten, and they're so dominant. Everyone's unbeatable until they're beaten, and then people are like, oh, there's these this exposed this exposed that. Look, I've got the best scientists, if you will, coaches in the game, man, and we know what we're up against, and we have also seen many holes and many weaknesses, and like I said, it's just I'm in the right position now, and I am the style, I am the one to be able to negate hers. Granted, I have to do all my shit right, of course, but that'll be displayed August 19th.
Well, you mentioned BJ, and then Kevin, the judo black belt, BJ the grappler, and then you mentioned another training partner that comes in from time to time, who's on the wrestling team. Seems like you have a nice little crew.
Yeah, man. Yep. No, plenty of different looks. And then of course I'm getting in some some other specific work with many other people, but in terms of my live sparring and wrestling, those have been my guys, and I'm just so grateful for them. They're in camp with me, even though they don't have immediate fights coming up. Like they're showing up every single session, every single day, and helping me be victorious this night and putting in the work, as they would regardless. That's just the culture and the level of the caliber that we've got and the standard that we've got here. But what they're able to give me, the pressure and the energy and their bodies as well.
Yeah.
Sacrificing for this camp has been I'm indebted, to people like that. We don't get to shine under the lights without our teammates and these people that are putting in the work right alongside us. So grateful.
For yourself, is it very simple? If she plays around too much on the feet, that's going to be danger for her, and if you go to the ground with her, it's her world. Is it that simple for us, like as a viewer watching this fight?
No. Well, I mean, I think stylistically, what you guys will see, you'll see. She won't be able to hold me down like she thinks she was if it does go to the fence or the cage. Of course, that's her domain. Of course, she's dominant there. That's not. We know that that's her strength, but she also hasn't felt me, and the things that we have been honing in on, and that I'm actually able to display this fight, like because of the style that it is. So, I definitely will not be an easy one for her to just throw around and just dominate and keep down like that. And of course, there'll be a few things that up my sleeve too to, keep her where we want it.
Yeah, she's been promoted as like one of the GOATs of all time. I mean, even though she's only had 10 fights, if you go in there and like you said, knock her clean out, that puts you in the conversation in only 6 fights, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, but like there's this big wheel behind her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like let's call a spade a spade. She's been dominant, but against 2.
Mm-hmm.
And she's done everything that's been asked of her.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not taking away that, but it's just like these the wheel that's behind her that's spinning. It's like it's sure, it's good for promotional talk, but it's just like you haven't come up against anyone that can that's been able to threaten her style like legitimately, and again, not taking anything away from her. It's like she's done what she's supposed to do. She's won in dominant fashion and put these other girls out who she's been matched with. But so that whole conversation of things, it's like look, I'm just there to take her out. That's what it is, and if the people in the outside media and whoever else want to have these conversations, that's cool. But to be the champion and to be the most dominant female fighter there is, and I know I'm growing to that point, but it's just not something that comes that I'm even kind of thinking about initially. It's just like, nope, beat all these bitches in front of me right now, and then we can worry about all the the rankings and who's who. It's just that's not a motivating factor for me, if you will, like, you know what I mean, like that'll happen as a byproduct of what I produce and what I'm able to do and the people and the caliber that I take out, so that'll come.
One last thing, on the other side of the bracket, you got Pacheco versus Gordado. Yep. What is your breakdown of that matchup, and who do you see coming out on top and heading to the finals?
Gosh, I don't know. Because Taylor's tenacious. Larissa's an OG, man. Like, and she can sit down on them things. She got some hands. Like, man, her last couple of fights have shown how much, you know, her subtle improvements from the last season, you know, in 2019. And she's so well versed everywhere. Like, so she's a vet. She's seasoned, you know, and experienced for a lot of women throughout all the, you know, throughout the main promotions. So that is just something that needs to be respected, you know. Yeah, she's looked great in her last two fights. So that's we know Larissa's high on momentum right now as well. So that's always a thing. But Taylor's the dark horse, man. You know, people didn't really, I don't think, really gave her the credit of even being in this position right now, if I'm being honest. But, you know, this is how it happens, and then people just show up and show out. And she's done really well to get to this position, and I think she's going to be a tough one against. She's not going to be these other two girls that Larissa put out, you know. So I think she's going to give Larissa a tough test, because she's also a very tenacious grappler and a very slick grappler as well. And I know that's where it could most likely go. And I train with Taylor. You know, she's got a couple of nice entries and strikes into those. So she hits hard, man. So it's going to be very interesting. They're actually quite similar in stature and frame as well, and physicality. So yeah, I can't call that, to be honest.
August 19th, PFL semifinals, Hollywood, Florida. Thank you so much, Genah, for the time, and safe travels over to the U.S.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. We'll speak after.